a single audio file with a vocal. So we go to EQ8, click it into mid-side mode. Look at that. Now we're EQing the middle separately to the sides. In other words, splitting the middle from the sides. Say a low pass filter and whiz it off all the way to the side, basically filtering out everything. So the side EQ is the same, but the middle EQ filters out everything. As near as makes no difference, removing the middle. What we need to do is grab a utility and we click this button here, which inverts the left phase, inverts the phase for the left channel. Then all is fixed, as you can see here in the vector scope. So now if we sum to mono, all is good. And it sounds excellent. And that's it, we're done.
And here's a little clip of the track so you guys can get a feel for what we're going to be working with.
I was younger, I was just too young to tell my older brothers.
Okay, so you can hear in that tune we've got the vocal, we've got a drum kit, kick, snare, and hi-hats, and we've got a bass, and we've got guitar. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the EQ into mid mode, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to remove everything. I'm basically going to take this high pass, I'm going to remove everything up the middle channel. What this is going to allow us to do is to hear what's going on in the sides, and I want to hear if the vocal's been panned at all. So if the vocal's been panned anywhere other than dead center, we're going to hear the vocal in here, because the only thing that shows up in this area are things that have been panned. So let's have a listen to it and find out what's going on in the sides. Okay, so we can hear a lot of hi-hats. We can hear a lot of room noise, the reverb, because I'm going to go over to the side channel and I'm going to remove, using the high pass, everything in the sides, because I know the vocal isn't sitting in the sides at all. Everything, that's effectively going to remove a lot of the hi-hats, it's going to remove a lot of the room sound, and it's going to remove a lot of the guitar, which is going to be very helpful. Now I'm going to go back to the mid and I need to roll this down again so we can actually hear stuff. Now, we can use this high passing EQ to get a lot of the bass out of there. We want to remove the kick drum, we want to remove the bass. So I'm going to set this channel. So we're going to take this EQ and we're going to play the track, we're going to roll it up until we can hear most of the vocal still, but we've cut a lot of the bass and kick drum.
I was younger, I was just too young to tell my older brothers. They knew me way.
Now the balance here is to get it high enough that you're cutting out the kick and the bass, but not so high that you're giving the vocal an extreme high-passed feel. Next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to put this EQ4 into a shelving mode, and I'm going to use this to slice out a bit of the hi-hats. And I'm just going to gain it down a little bit, and I'm going to take this up and use that to take out a bit of high end.
I was younger.
Now, the main problem we have is the guitar and the snare drum are still conflicting with the vocal. I'm going to use a technique called frequency scanning, where I'm going to take EQ3 here, I'm going to increase the gain up to its maximum, and I'm going to reduce the Q, so it's a very narrow Q, and I'm going to scan up and down the frequency spectrum while listening to the tune, and I'm going to be listening for where that snare drum is the heaviest. That's around where I'm feeling it's pretty heavy, around 3.2K. So now that I've got that dialed in, I know where to cut. So it's a way of accentuating the part we want to cut out so we can hear it really prominently, and then all we do is we do a gain down on it. Now we use a narrow Q for this, because if we use a really heavy Q, obviously we're going to be cutting everything out and it's going to sound a lot more audible. So we use a narrow Q, a more surgical cut, when we're removing this much, this deep a cut. Okay, we're going to use instead Ableton's multi-band dynamics plugin. So it actually has the ability to act as a expander as well. And basically what we're going to do is we have 3 bands, low, mid, and high, and we can control where their crossover points are. That anything that falls below this is going to be expanded downwards or reduced in volume, and you'll hear this immediately.
I was younger.
You'll see that the orange bands here, as far as its amplitude of the signal, are being reduced. So what this means is any signal that's underneath this threshold is going to be reduced by basically 4 to 1. So it's reducing that low frequency content, which I already know that we don't want. Now I'm going to do the same thing for our mid band, and I'm going to drag this around to get the level right here and just eyeball it. And now I'm going to activate this into 1 to 0.25 mode again. So it means that the vocal's going to peak over top, which means it'll be unaffected, and everything else is going to be squished down and reduced in volume.
It's called Knockout. You can download it from this website here. Just Google Knockout with zeros instead of O's, and the download link is at the bottom. So this is the plugin. The way it works is it takes the instrumental, or what we might want to refer to now as the noise profile, and it then applies that to the original, and hopefully what it will spit out is an a cappella. We've got to pan this hard right and then route that into the output and set the output channel to input mode, and then we need to do the opposite with this, hard left straight in there. Okay, I'll just add another channel here because I'm going to play this tune. So what I'm going to try and make an a cappella out of is this Camo and Crooked tune. The start of this track is kind of like this piano guitarish loop, and then the same loop happens again, but you know, the guy like starts singing and it's really cool and shit. Let me just play the song, or parts of the song anyway. Right, so that's like the, you know, the instrumental part, and then the singing come in. Just split the track up, so this is, okay, so this is going to be our original, and this is going to be our instrumental, or what we'll use as our noise profile. We only want to hear the a cappella, so let's just get a utility and set that to left. And I'm going to tweak like these knobs and stuff and see if I can get it to sound any better. Now this is currently a mono a cappella, but we can make it stereo. You know, this plugin's kind of old. It only, you know, it's working with this left and right bullshit. So if we just pretend that these two audio clips are mono as well, by dragging utilities onto them and setting them to left. Okay, I've just duplicated that onto there. And then we pan this output channel hard left as well, and we'll actually rename this to output left. Okay, what we can do is just duplicate this whole situation, rename this to output right, just so we don't get confused, and we'll pan that hard right, and then we'll pretend that these two clips are mono as well, but only on the right channel. And now if we play everything together, we'll have output coming out of the right speaker and output coming out of the left speaker, and we should have a stereo a cappella.